Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai takes place this weekend in the main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 9, Overeem versus Sakai, and it's the only real interesting matchup on this card, so it's the only one I'm really going to be making a prediction video for. The rest of the card pretty much stinks, but Overeem is on a mission for gold. One last run, one last belt has been the motto in Alistair Overeem's camp recently. He's just coming off a big win against Walt Harris when all seemed to be against him. He was supposed to go out there and lose to Walt Harris. That's what the company wanted. That's what they were building. Alistair Overeem went out there and got the job done against Walt Harris. If he wins this one against Augusto Sakai, he will be one fight away from looking towards a title elimination bout. If he beats Augusto Sakai, the next best matchup for him, in my opinion, would be a rematch with Jairzinho Rozenstruik early next year, at the end of this year. We'll see how much damage he takes against Augusto Sakai, but if that does happen, and then he takes on Jairzinho Rozenstruik next, he's going to be looking for one more fight to get him towards that title shot, or who knows what goes on with the heavyweight division until then. Maybe Alistair Overeem gets a title shot by beating Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He's so close to getting one last title shot. I think he's going to do it. I think Alistair Overeem is going to go out there and beat Augusto Sakai, and I'll be honest with you guys, normally if you were to tell me that a 15-1 fighter is going to go out there and take on Alistair Overeem. He's a young guy before his prime, 29 years of age at heavyweight, 15-1 in the heavyweight division of MMA, going up against Alistair Overeem. I would usually tell you, oh, that sounds like a guy who's going to go out there and take advantage of Overeem and completely destroy him. This is not your usual 15-1 up-and-coming heavyweight, because I'll tell you this about Augusto Sakai. Although he's winning fights, I couldn't name a guy who continues to win matchups, yet continues to just routinely unimpress me at every turn possible. Every single time he seems to go out there and win, I just can't really see how he got to 15-1, and I feel like Alistair Overeem is really going to make an example of him here. I think Overeem gets the job done. If this was an Augusto Sakai who was going out there and destroying guys in the first round with devastating power and quickness and speed, which is none of the things that Augusto Sakai actually has, but if he had all of those credentials, some power, some speed, some ferocity in the opening round, some fucking, I don't know, killer instincts out there, maybe I would pick him against Alistair Overeem, but I had trouble picking Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Alistair Overeem, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, listen, if you're going to go out there and beat Alistair Overeem, please destroy Andrei Arlovski first. Please let me see that happen, because we saw that with Ngannou. We saw that with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Please don't Augusto Sakai go out there and have a razor-close robbery decision where you get gifted a win that was a blatant robbery. You got doubled in strikes in round 1 and 3. There weren't no takedowns. There were no knockdowns. You got gifted a decision against Andrei Arlovski. I've never seen anything like it in my life, but still, please go out there and destroy Arlovski, so I can maybe have some kind of confidence that you might go out there and do something similar to Alistair Overeem, because even Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who proved he was on a different level to Arlovski and annihilated him in that first round, had to go through 4 rounds or 3 rounds of losing to Overeem, won one of the rounds towards the end, maybe, who knows, that round could have gone either way still, pretty much got dominated the entire fight against Overeem until catching him with 5 seconds to go and having an early stoppage, because the referee, whenever a guy does a walk-off KO, completely shits themselves, doesn't want to ruin the highlight reel, and steps in anyway. Please go out there and destroy Arlovski, because even Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who did do that, had to go through all of those rounds with Overeem, showing that Overeem is just on a different level to these guys. I think Overeem is the best of the old guard. I've always thought he's been the best of the old guard. I picked him to win against Walt Harris, and that was a dangerous one, in my opinion, a much more dangerous fight than a fight with Augusto Sakai. I just don't see Augusto Sakai getting it done. You know, he's lost a fight to Chuck Congo at Bellator, then he went back, won a fight on the Contender Series against a tiny man. Looked like a middleweight on the Contender Series that he took on 5-0 at the time, completely gassed out, took the bout on short notice against Augusto Sakai. Even there, Augusto Sakai did not look too impressive. Then against Chase Sherman, it's Chase Sherman, he's 11-5. Well done, you TKO'd him in the 3rd round, but Chase Sherman, known for beating the legends of the caliber of Ike Villanueva. Like, what are we talking about here? How can we compare these wins to Alistair Overeem? Now, I think what it all comes down to, really, if I just open up the odds again one more time, is that the odds don't seem to understand who the Reem is. And I'm done betting against Overeem's chin, because it doesn't seem to happen too much, and only seems to happen to the best guys in the division. If I look at the odds right now, Alistair Overeem is a slight favourite. I think that Sakai should be a pretty big underdog. I'll be honest with you guys. And just not only because of that, but it gives me real trouble picking Augusto Sakai here, because I expect him to be a massive underdog. I don't think he's going to win this one. I don't see a guy with devastating KO power in the first round that's going to catch Overeem on the chin. I see a guy who pitter-patters on the outside, tries to outstrike people, and wins quite a few fights by split decision, you know, and by decision, and by very unappealing fights where he sticks on the outside, he picks guys apart, not with any power really whatsoever, not with any speed or lightning fast counter shots that he lands on anyone. I don't think you can do that to a guy like Overeem, and I'll tell you this about Overeem: in the past 5 years, he's lost to the best guys in the heavyweight division, champ 1, 2, and 3. I mean, seriously, in the last 5 years, the only people that Alistair Overeem has lost to is Jairzinho Rozenstruik in a fight that he was dominating the entire time until the very end. Curtis Blades. Okay, that's not too bad. Francis Ngannou. Okay, well, that's not too bad, is it? Stipe Miocic. Those are the only 4 names on his resume that have a loss he has a loss to. In the past 5 years, I don't see Augusto Sakai joining that list of people. And I'll tell you this about Overeem as well: it's been a while since I've really seen him KO'd. And for the longest time with Alistair Overeem, I've been picking fights for Overeem. I picked Sergey Pavlovich to beat Overeem, because it was a time where Overeem is coming off a KO loss. A lot of times when you're picking Alistair Overeem to win fights, you're picking him because you think, well, you know, he got chinned in his last one, or he suffered a real big bad amount of damage in his last fight, and now I feel like maybe this guy's going to get the advantage on him with some power in the first round. That's what I thought Sergey Pavlovich was going to do. By the way, a guy who was 12-0 with better wins than Augusto Sakai, and in my opinion would probably beat Augusto Sakai right now in Sergey Pavlovich. What did Overeem do? Go out there, take him down, and beat the hell out of him in the first round and make him look like an absolute amateur. You need to be one of the best in the division, in my opinion, to beat Alistair Overeem. Now, there's always a chance. This is the Reem we're talking about here. There is always that funny old chance that Alistair Overeem gets KO'd in hilarious fashion and Augusto Sakai walks out of this with his hands raised. I just have not seen enough. I've not seen I'm trying to make a sound effect for it here. I need to see the you know, like that's what I saw from Ngannou. I saw that from Rozenstruik, KOing everyone left, right, and centre. I just don't see any of that from Augusto Sakai, and I think if you're going to play the pitter-patter on the outside game, land 10 strikes around with Overeem, he's going to have way too much of an opportunity to ease himself into the fight. He's going to get comfortable, and then come the second round, I could see Overeem going out there and getting the TKO. One last run, one last belt. I don't think he's going to get the belt. I really don't think that's going to happen, because there's a murderer's road to get through. But listen, if he wins this one, I wouldn't mind his chances against Rozenstruik again. I watched him beat Rozenstruik for pretty much 4 rounds last time, so, you know, I wouldn't mind his chances in a rematch. And if he does win, I'd like to see that matchup get made, because right now Rozenstruik is a little bit left out at the top of the division. We've got Blades versus Derek Lewis. DC's retiring. He's going to be out of the rankings soon, so he's not going to be taking on anyone soon. Stipe Miocic versus Ngannou 2 is probably going to happen, and if not, Ngannou's going to wait for the winner of Stipe versus Jones. There's a lot of waiting around at the top right now, and Rozenstruik's going to need a dance partner, and I'd like to see all doubt removed from my mind about that last performance from Jairzinho Rozenstruik. If he were to go out there and make a bit more of a statement against Overeem, I would appreciate that. I think that's the fight that's on the line here. If Augusto Sakai wins, I'll give it to him, but I just don't, you know, does split decision wins over Andrei Arlovski tell me you're going to join the greatest of the heavyweights? You're going to join the top 5 level of the heavyweight division. It doesn't tell me that. Does a razor close split I don't like it. Andrei Arlovski, we just watched Taito Ivasa go to a split decision with Andrei Arlovski not too long ago that he arguably could have lost, much like Augusto Sakai did. Taito Ivasa went on to beat Taito Ivasa, who's now cut from the UFC. Is Overeem the JDS to Tuivasa, but for Augusto Sakai? I feel like he is, and Overeem is better than JDS. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Alistair Overeem. I believe in the Reem. I really do. I think his style has been really improving recently. He's been a lot more aware of danger. He covers up well against Walt Harris. We saw him go down to a much bigger KO artist than Augusto Sakai against Walt Harris. Completely recover. He took a real big beating, and maybe the referee could have jumped in here and there, but we saw that Overeem has still got it, man. He's still got it in him to bounce back after a tough first round of a beating and get the thing done. I like Overeem. I like his veteran ability in the octagon. I think he's going to get the job done. Not to mention, again, a win in the first round. Knees and ground and pound to Alexei Olenek. I just don't see Sakai doing too much. And you know what I could actually see? Augusto Sakai throws a lot of slow combinations. Usually when he presses guys backwards, he does quite well. You saw that against Marcin Tybura, and we've seen it in his fights before against Chase Sherman as well. He likes to push guys backwards and then start unloading with combinations. Overeem does a lot of that running sideways as soon as he hits his back to the cage. I don't think Sakai is going to be able to enclose him against the cage like he did to Marcin Tybura. And also, Augusto Sakai throws a lot of naked kicks that come very slowly, and he's very obvious about. And I think if Overeem could time a nice straight right hand right down the pipe as he does it, I think Overeem's going to get the job done. It's going to be a tough first round. How tough will it be? That depends what Augusto Sakai shows up on the night. He could go out there and make it a real tough first round. I'm also not denying that he could go out there and get the job done with a nice big punch on the chin in the first round and chin Overeem out of there in the first. But I feel like Overeem's gonna weather a bit of a dangerous first round where it's a little bit worrying. You don't know who's going to land first and who's going to land big. I think Overeem makes it a boring first round. In the second round, he starts pushing Sakai to the cage, gets a little bit more confidence, starts blasting those knees up the middle, and eventually probably gets Augusto Sakai to the ground and finishes it via ground and pound. I'll go Alistair Overeem via ground and pound in the second round. You saw that against Sergey Pavlovich, a guy who before that fight in Sergey Pavlovich looked nothing but dominant at heavyweight, 12-0, had some really good wins. He's now 14-1, so he's gone on to have good wins as well in the UFC with a big win against Maurice Green, I believe, recently. Was completely undefeated against great competition before then, some decent guys on his resume, and Overeem just showed him the ropes. Showed him the ropes of the heavyweight division. I feel like that's what it's going to be against Augusto Sakai. I do worry, but, I mean, even if you're a better here, those odds on Overeem, Sakai should be a pretty big... I think Rosenstruik would probably be an underdog. I don't know. It's a tough one, the heavyweight division, because chins are pretty difficult to bet on. It's like betting on James Vick every fight, it feels like sometimes with these heavyweights. But we're going to go with Alistair Overeem. I believe in the Reem. I believe in the experience. And I'm a big Reem fan, but I just, I think I've laid out my argument pretty well here in this video. You guys get the gist of what's going to happen, I feel like. I'm not wowed by Sakai. I need to see you dominate, guys, if I'm going to see you beat Overeem. Because I've seen guys dominate lower tier opponents and still lose to the Reem. I'm going to go with Alistair Overeem, second round, ground and pound. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there, and goodbye.